Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's December 17th, 2022, and I haven't done a weekend report for a couple of weeks because I've had a cold. I'm still getting over it, but I wanted to get one out today, so I'm going to go ahead. Standard risk disclaimer: any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. If you're not using highgrowthstock.com, you should go to highgrowthstock.com and download the software for a free trial. And there's a holiday sale going on right now, so now's a good time to get started with HGS Investor. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about HGSI and thinkorswim and use them in conjunction, show you some things I've been working on, and I'm going to put out a link to invite you to a webinar on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Time if you can attend. I usually do these on Thursday, but Christmas is coming up and I didn't want to push it to Thursday, so I'll get that sent out. Anyway, here's where I am right now for newbies. I have a folder which I call my major market analysis user groups, and I'm in the major markets plus, the top folder. I've transferred that to a warehouse view, and the warehouse view that I'm using is here in the first folder. Top-down process views for market analysis, I'm in number 1. And I am sorted on raw combo, and this sorts on the percentage price move 1 day. And you can see that everything was negative, of course, on Friday. As it has been, it was just a brutal week, but I'm going to take you through this, and we're going to look at the market, and then like I said, I'm going to use thinkorswim also. Anyway, here is the Nasdaq Composite right here. I just click on it, bring up the chart, and if I go up here to the top, click on the information, it brings this up, and I get all the information about support and resistance and so on, but I just scroll down to the bottom so I can get an insight into the internals and so on. Going to bring an arrow up here. Look at this. You can see the volume was high. The spread was below average. It's a spinning top. This would be above average the day before, so it wasn't quite as bad. I mean, it felt bad, but it didn't drop precipitously and close on the low. Now, there was extremely heavy volume because this is quadruple witching day, options expiration day, so that's why there's a huge volume spike. Now, since the beginning of the week, it's been down 2.8%, 5-day change, minus 2.7%. That's Friday to Friday. Yesterday was only down 1%, which was actually a relief compared to what we've seen recently. If I look over here, you can see that there is a gap going back to this date, and that gap was penetrated yesterday. Now the question is, are we going to fill that gap with this market? If so, it's going to have to get down here in this area. Nobody knows what the market's going to do, of course, but it's just something to look for as far as support and resistance right here between this candle, the low of this candle, and the high of this candle. This is just an open space with no frame of reference or support. Now, this support up here held well for several days, and then it broke through there, and it came down and tested the bottom of this on Thursday, and then it did break through a little bit on Friday. Okay, let's just take a look at the next chart. This is a chart I modified, and this blue line represents the Standard & Poor. If this is going up, it tells me that the Nasdaq Composite was stronger than the S&P on this day. So the S&P was actually weaker than the Nasdaq. Let's take a look up here. And you can see that it was, the Nasdaq was down 1%, the S&P was down 1.6%. So consequently, on this chart, it was stronger on a one-day basis. But looking at this blue line over here, this was going down this whole time, which means the Nasdaq was a lot weaker than the S&P. It held steady even with the S&P and then was much weaker than the S&P. Stronger than the S&P here, but you can see this is actually a pretty helpful chart. Let's go down to the next one, new highs, new lows. You can see there are a lot more new lows than new highs, but it doesn't come anywhere close to these spikes over here. But some of these stocks are down so low anyway, it's difficult to establish new lows. And then here's the advanced decline line. This is the fourth chart in the group, and you can see that the AD line is continuing down. So these charts obviously tell us that we're still in a bear market. There was some hope that it was reversing, but after this big move up, which was sold into by the big money, the market just has gone down the past 4 days counting. Well, it was actually up this day, but down, down, down. It was up, but anybody who bought at the open or early in the day was hammered, and many of those positions ended up being losing positions. The candles tell us this, and the VPA flags tell us this. 3 consecutive negative VPA flags, none was generated here. Maybe it's going to find support in this area, hopefully, because it's been really a disaster recently. Okay, I'm going to move away from HGS. Well, I'm not moving away, but I'm going to bring in thinkorswim and just take a look at this. This is the Nasdaq. No volume associated with the Nasdaq here in the thinkorswim data, but you can see what I was looking at here. Here's that gap that broke below the gap, and these are colored due to a VPA add-on, but there's it really isn't accurate without volume, and there's no volume here. But other than that, this is one of the few charts that doesn't have volume. I'll just scroll up here to the top, and let's look at the S&P 400. You can see there's volume here. There's volume with the 500. There's volume with the 600. Big volume spikes on all of these because of quadruple options witching. Quadruple witching. Now I've been doing quite a bit of work integrating HGSI and thinkorswim because they really work hand in hand, and this HGSI is, of course, I use for end of day and intraday also, but I've been experimenting with bringing a lot of the results from HGSI into my trading platform, which is thinkorswim. And let me show you some of the things I've been doing here. Okay, what I've done is created watch lists. As I go through some of these things, I can add stocks for long candidates, short candidates. This is the top 100, the relative strength combo, leaders versus the S&P 500, 100 stocks, price up, fan up, top 50 group inclusion, perfect speculator, undercut and rally, 3 less than the 6. These are the box stocks only. Undercut and rally, 3 crossing the 6, and then box stocks and so on. Anyway, I've created a bunch of user groups here, and I put numbers on them so I could get to them quickly. And these are just brought over from HGSI. It's a very simple process. And I'm going to be going over that in the webinar that I'm planning on doing Wednesday if you would like to attend, or of course it's going to be recorded. So First of all, I'm going to just select the HGSI box stocks, and there are 600 and some of these, and these are stocks that were actually up on Friday. Everything wasn't a disaster, and by bringing this whole list of box stocks over, I can see during the day within the trading platform which of them are performing. Now, another nice thing when you bring all of these stocks over, just import them. If you go to Market Watch, and I'm in my box stocks right here, anytime you create a group, user group within thinkorswim, by importing the data from HGSI, it's going to be in the personal list. Now notice there's number 1 or number 2 because neither one of those folders had anything in them right now. But on the 100 relative strength combo stocks, this is a smart group that's generated every day. I can see what happened on Friday, and during the day, intraday, I can see where the strength is in any of these stocks. But what's nice about this, when I go down, if my world just happens to be box stocks only, I click on this and it shows me every one of the box stocks that I imported, and it breaks them down into sectors and then subsectors. Our groups are not exactly what theirs are, but they're close enough. It really doesn't matter, but it gives you a feel for what's happening here in the sectors with these box stocks. You can see energy stocks, for the most part on Friday, were weak. Now another way we can look at this, and I'm going to go up to the I'm going to go back up to this 100 stocks. These are the ones that are coming up in the smart group, and I'll show you the smart group that I use. It's under Woodward and Brown. Leaders, raw relative strength, raw group strength. All I have to do is copy these symbols to the clipboard, comma separated list, and then if I want to edit this, right here, you just click on that, edit, brings this up, import, paste from the clipboard, OK, and I'm just replacing what was in there. Didn't change anything because it's the same symbols. But these are the stocks that are that were in that group, the 100 right up here. But you can look at any of these. It's really helpful. So let's take a look at these stocks, and you can see that brighter green means that they were up the most. And from here, you can let's say I want to look at AKRO. You just click on this, send AKRO to red. I've got my charts tagged with the red label. You bring it up, and there it is right there. It's very, very handy, and you can do a quick analysis, see where the strength is. You can just bring up any chart, or you can go to the heat map and see which the relative performance of the stocks within any watch list. I'm going to go back to visualize. Also, rather than the heat map, you can go to the index watch, and I have to locate that. Here it is right here. It gives me all of the stocks, all 100 that are in here. You can see there's 100, and it shows a visual of the percentage gain of the stock. This big spike up here, the symbol is BYSI. And if I look over to the right, I can see, if you look over here, well, it's on here. You can see what the net change is and the percentage change. It's up 49% for the day. Had to be news on it or a buyout. But you can see the relative performance of any stock within this group. I want to look at this one. Let's just right mouse click and send it to red. And you can see it's a cheap stock that evidently had some news on it, but it's showing up in that raw combo smart group with the ability to quickly integrate symbols, import them into thinkorswim. These programs really work well together. Now, let's say that I'm interested in a stock here. I don't see anything really that I am crazy about right now, but let's just use Tusk here. This has been coming up. I noticed it in a scan yesterday. Let's say I like this, and I'm going to add Tusk to the watch list, long candidates. So if I go back up to my personal, go to long candidates, you can see that Tusk is in here. So I can go through these stocks or these HGSI lists, smart groups, whatever I'm using, and I can quickly add stocks to a watch list intraday or end of day. Okay, let's go down to another watch list. These are under personal. I'm going to go to the UNR 3 less than 6. I was using the greater than and less than in the title, but it wouldn't work, so I had to come in and change these. Anyway, so these are stocks where the 3 is under the 6, and you can see right here. It's hard to see. The 3 is green here, and the 6 is orange, but it's under the 6, so this is a stock that was up 4.20% on Friday, and it generated a strength on high volume up bar closing on the high. A little different terminology with the VPA that I've got for this, which is a public domain program, but you can see that there's really strong volume down here. So there's demand, effort. What's the effort? The volume. Here's the result. So it's maybe a stock that I want to take a look at on Monday. So I'm going to add it to long candidates. Let's just grab another one here. You can see the 3 is below the 6 here. I put a column in here, sector. It's in the financial sector, so I know it's a financial. Let's go down here a little bit further. If I want to look at this group, the 3 less than the 6 in the using the index watch, I have to locate the group, and it shows me what these stocks did yesterday. Now this, of course, is dynamic during the day. It will show you the gains or the losses. Anything below the line is orange. Anything above it is green. And I believe these levels here, these little dashes, are highs and lows for the day on those securities. I'm not quite sure of that. But if I want to go directly to the chart, just send it to the red, or if I want to add this to a watch list, I can just add it to the long candidates. Go back over here, let's take a look here. Personal, long candidates, and you can see that it's in here. So you can do a lot of prospecting right off of these bars. And then, of course, if I want to look at the heat map of this to see what these stocks are doing, I have to get down to this, the group here, 3 less than 6, and these are crossing the 6, and these boxes are formed by according to the market cap of the individual stocks, and you can see that 3 crossing the 6 cat is the dominant stock in this group for market cap. I'm going to send this to red. Let's take a look at the cat chart, and you can see that the 3 is crossing the 6 right here, crossing it today. It actually crossed it yesterday, and that's why it came up in the scan. But you can see there's, after a gap down, buyers are stepping in. Heavy volume today, and it's Here's yesterday's low. Here's the close. So buyers stepped back into CAT. Now I'm going to end this video. I just want to show you a few things I've been working on as far as integrating HGSI into thinkorswim. HGSI is can really be considered the back end for the information that's available in thinkorswim once you transfer it over. And there's unlimited things we can do with this. Now I'm going to do that webinar on Wednesday. That is if my voice holds up, and I'll send the invitation out, and you can just sign up for it if you're interested in seeing how I am integrating the two programs. Thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll see many of you on Wednesday.